I'm working on this, my 1964 Mercury Monterey convertible. Had a power steering leak which turned into a full front end steering and power steering rebuild. And one of the issues with it is the front end has an offset bushing, and here's one of the solutions. This comes from, it used to be Greg Donahue, who was well known in the Galaxie world, and now it's Bud's Classic Cars. And you can find this, you have to call him. His catalog is available online, a searchable PDF. You want to search tow-in stabilizer, because that's what this does. I'll go show you under the car why this is needed, or some solution like this is needed, but this is the cheapest one. This is $60 from him. So I will show you how it's installed, what the problem is, and what it fixes. So here's under the car looking at the front mount of the lower control arm. Now, you might be able to see, it's kind of difficult, but this shaft comes out, offsets down, and then goes to the control arm. And it's in the average state of repair that you're gonna find these things in cars that haven't been rebuilt completely. And they do make shafts that take this offset out. One option is it just goes straight, and that jacks up the front of the control arm, throwing off the whole suspension natural geometry, which I don't like doing. The other option is to get this bushing kit out of a 1962 Galaxie, which had a different A-arm, and if you have that A-arm, then you can do that properly. Straight bolt, straight control arm, and that should work. There's another offset arm that actually the bushings are still offset, but the bolt gets to go straight through. They just drilled the holes offset, and that will maintain your geometry. And that one's about nearly $400, which I just really didn't want to do. As you can see, I didn't even really bother to paint anything. I just changed the parts that needed to be changed. So what happens is when you're driving with this offset pivot point, this can rotate in and out under hard acceleration or braking. And that changes where the tire's pointing. Your toe-in and I believe it's caster that changes. Anyway, changes suspension, geometry, and steering. This one, it would happen pretty bad where, along with the power steering issues I had, I still have to clean up some of the fluid, but all my power steering stuff is now new. Stanger Sight, it's stangersight.net. Did a full rebuild on the power steering, and all the stuff came back in fantastic condition. I would really recommend them. But anyway, to get rid of this, moving back and forth, one option is just to lock this one together with, there it is, the other side. So that's what that bar does. It connects the two, so they could still move in tandem in and out, but that's not usually what they want to do. They want to move opposite during hard acceleration and braking. So that does take care of almost all of the problem. So all you have to do is take off the nut on both sides, put on the bar, and put the nut back on. And I will show you once it's installed. And here's an example of it moving as I pull on it, if you can see. It's rotating and actually towing out the wheel. And that's what's happening. So there it is, bolted on, ready to go. And what I realized when putting this on is you really have to jack the two mounting points away from each other. It wants to push them apart. And as I was pulling on the bolts to loosen them, I found that the A-arms really wanted to rotate in, but they really don't like rotating out. So I believe this bar is actually going to work very well as it jacks those points apart, and they don't want to move outward. One's not going to come in because the other one doesn't want to move out. So it puts a nice bit of tension on it. I actually believe if you put this in, you would need an alignment, because as it pushes these out, the back's going to want to push in to keep it aligned. You would actually have a bit of toe out without an alignment. So I really think this is going to work. I wish I could tell you what the effect is, but I've changed upper and lower ball joints, shocks, springs, sway bar end links, all of the power steering. So I'd like to say, hey, you put in the $60 piece from Bud's Classic, and it fixes all of your problems. But I've done many things, so I'm hoping this is one component to a much better driving and steering car. Oh, one final note, you can't just pop this thing in here without taking off one of your sway bar end links and the frame mount on one side to get the sway bar out of the way to get this up and in place. But I had already changed those links, so that was no big deal.